that Hayden Christensen?
Yep.
Wow, he was great in Shattered Glass. So, now what?
I was a puppet for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I guess I'll go get started on my resurrection story.
Your what?
Oh, I'm going to come back to life. Like any good comic book resurrection, it'll be overly convoluted and serve no purpose other than to reestablish the status quo. It'll be great! It's going to feature time travel, the White Rain from the Green Lantern mythos, and Cat from Suburban Nights.
Isn't he dead too?
Yes! So if you were going to come back to life, how would you do it?
Well, I couldn't do that. I put everything on the line to come into the plot hole. If I were to come back to life, it'd be a major cop-out and everyone would see me as a total phony.
Yes. Oh, I mean, but what if?
Well, I kind of think that I'd exist as a whole nother person. Maybe explore the movies from the creator side of things. I'd have a regular cast, we'd explore my psyche, and then I'd reveal that it'd been a coping mechanism for existing in the strange dimension that is the plot hole. Yeah, I think I'd call it Demo Reel.
Demo reel? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard! No one's gonna watch that! Man, I'm glad I'm not on that show.
Enter Fabrizio, a fat, obnoxious mobster with obvious erectile dysfunction.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Comic Book Issues. I'm your host, the Last Angry Geek. Now, in today's episode, Oh god, am I dead again?
Oh, no, I'm just here for the crossover.
Oh, we're doing a crossover?
I don't know. You're on my site. Everybody gets at least one.
That explains the Total Recall review.
Hey!
Oh, no. That's just so I could hear the Get Your Ass to Mars remix.
Hey!
So I guess our review should be appropriately nostalgic, but with a modern take since I review newer things.
And I do prefer reviewing movies.
Got it. On today's episode, we're going to review the animated adaptation of what many consider the greatest Batman story of all time, The Dark Knight Returns.
Great! Wait, this will in no way involve me doing a bad Joker impression, will it? Crap!
Melvin, brother of the Joker. Melvin, brother of the Joker.
The Dark Knight Returns was published in 4 issues in 1986. Written and drawn by Frank Miller during one of his good periods, it tells of a dystopian future where Batman and the rest of the superheroes have all retired.
Without Batman, Gotham City has descended into madness and chaos. Having watched all his hard work deteriorate, an older Bruce Wayne finally returns to fighting crime as Batman, attracting new allies and provoking old enemies.
The series was a huge hit and became one of the seminal Batman stories of the modern era.
DC animated films are usually a little over an hour long. When they decided on adapting this series, they kept to that format, but ended up doing it in 2 parts in order not to have to cut anything from Miller's story.
The movie was recently re-released as a single disc, combining both parts into a full film.
Frank Miller? That crazy guy who told the Occupy Wall Street people to fuck
Exactly.
off?
But back in the 80s, everything he touched turned to gold. Batman, Daredevil, more Batman. But then the 90s hit and Batman Spawn came out. Since then, every time he's written Batman, he's made Bats into a terrible Clint Eastwood parody, incapable of saying anything besides punk. Still, at least he gave us Jessica Alba in a thong. The story opens with a mustachioed Bruce Wayne driving in an auto race. He pushes his car too hard and it crashes and burns, though Wayne is more or less fine. He's later shown sharing a drink with the soon-to-retire Commissioner Gordon. Gotham City is under fire from an anarchist gang called the Mutants, and Bruce is growing more frustrated that Gotham citizens are turning a blind eye to crime. A pair of mutants try and mug Bruce, but when he tries to fight back, they're so surprised they simply walk away. Bruce later has a nightmare of his younger self falling into the Batcave, and it wakes him up. As he descends into the cave for the first time in years, Alfred finds him and comments that he's shaved off his mustache.
At Arkham Asylum, Harvey Dent has his plastic surgery bandages removed. His face is now 100% restored and he's being released. To prove his good intent, he shows that both sides of his famous coin are now clean. However, the news tells us that Harvey is now missing.
Amidst news reports of escalating violence in Gotham, Bruce begins flashing back to the night of his parents' murder. It all culminates in a bat crashing through Bruce's window.
Around Gotham, various acts of violence are broken up by a mysterious man in blue and gray. Two girls, Michelle and Carrie, are attacked by mutants but saved by Batman. A group of bank robbers are chased by the Gotham PD. Pursuing one of the getaway cars, they catch sight of Batman flying through the air. The older cop tells the rookie partner to enjoy the show.
Batman drops down on the car, causing them to fly into a construction site. He's out of shape, but still manages to take the crooks down, saving the rookie cop's life. Upon searching the crook, he finds a double-scarred coin. As news of Batman's return spreads, Gordon releases the crook, who returns to Two-Face's headquarters, only to find it abandoned and Batman waiting for him.
I got rights!
You're also bleeding to death. And right now, I'm the only one in the world who can get you to a hospital in time.
Elsewhere, Commissioner Gordon lights up the bat signal. Two-Face has stolen 2 helicopters and is planning something for tomorrow, Tuesday the 2nd. Batman is convinced he'll be hitting the Gotham Life building. Arkham psychiatrist Dr. Bartholomew goes on a TV show and blames Batman for reactivating Harvey's Two-Face persona. As he talks, a comatose patient begins to stir. Batman stands guard as a pair of helicopters fly past. The militarized one launches missiles into the Gotham Life building before landing. A fully bandaged Harvey Dent is among its passengers. They hook into Gotham TV and Harvey announces that he has 2 bombs that will level the building unless he's paid $22 million in the next 22 minutes. Wow, he must really like the number 3.
2, sir.
2!
Using a few smoke bombs, laced with the Scarecrow's fear gas, Batman takes down the gang. He gets to the bomb and sees it's been activated. According to the guard, it shouldn't even be going. This isn't about money. Harvey is suicidal. Batman freezes the bomb, stopping it, before tightrope walking to the other tower. Harvey shoots Batman, knocking him off his rope, but Batman fires his grappling hook into Harvey's helicopter. Harvey loses his balance, and Bruce manages to save him. A few moments later, the second helicopter blows up. Harvey fires off a few shots, but misses. Batman unmasks him, and we see that Harvey is fine, completely unscarred. But Batman realizes the scars are on the inside. Harvey will never be cured, never be sane.
People are now debating whether or not Batman's return is a good thing or a bad thing, as civil rights groups call for the Batman's head. Carrie Kelly, the girl Batman saved, slips into a Robin outfit, almost killing herself by falling off the roof. Word then comes that the young heir to a fortune has been kidnapped by the mutants. We cut to the kidnappers, who hear a door unlock and open fire. A batarang and cheap walls take care of the first 2 mutants, with Batman shooting the final kidnapper and grabbing the boy.
Hanging one of the mutant kidnappers from a rooftop, Batman wants to know where the gang is getting combat-quality weapons.
As this is happening, Carrie interrupts a purse snatching.
Hoo! Ha! Look out!
What the hell? I'm trying to make an honest living here. Stay out of my business.
Batman disarms the general who sold weapons to the mutants in order to finance his wife's medical treatments. Shaming him, Batman leaves, and a moment later, a gunshot rings out.
Carrie overhears a group of mutants talk about a gang meeting at the city dump.
You know, it's really interesting how the story contrasts Robin and Batman's arcs here. You know, he's taking on the societal flaws that makes crime possible, while she's confronting the crime directly. It's as if they're trying to say...
What are you doing?
I'm reviewing the movie, the whole reason I'm here.
We get through the recap first, then we review it. That's how I do things on my show.
Oh. And the fans like that? I'm awesome.
In his tank-like Batmobile, Bruce heads out. At the dump, the mutant leader's inciting his gang to ride across Gotham and kill Gordon. The Bat tank arrives, and he offers them a chance to surrender, but they open fire. Batman returns fire, and he and Carrie independently make their way towards the leader. The leader challenges Batman to one-on-one combat, which Bruce accepts, needing to know if he still has what it takes to be Batman.
The fight goes back and forth, but turns in favor of the leader. Just as the leader beats him down with a crowbar, Carrie jumps on his back, scratching his eyes, buying time for Batman to throw a glue bomb in his face and smother him. Carrie manages to get Batman back to the Batmobile. As Alfred applies medical scanners remotely, Carrie relocates Bruce's arm and builds an impromptu split.
Impressed, Batman introduces himself as Bruce and orders Alfred to drive him and Robin back to the cave. Batman strips down and heads deep into the cave, flashing back to his parents' murder. Bruce confronts a huge bat while hallucinating that Batman is in his father's casket.
As the mutant leader, now in prison, declares war on Gotham, the mayor announces that Ellen Yindel will replace Commissioner Gordon when he retires next week, and will pursue a hard-line anti-Batman stance. The mayor announces he will negotiate peace with the mutant leader. It doesn't go well.
I wouldn't go in there if I were you, sir.
I have to. It's our only chance for peace.
How's the peace process going, sir? Get the delegate more ketchup! Batman is now convinced he can stop the mutants with Robin's help. He has to take down their leader, but by outsmarting him, not going toe-to-toe. He sends Robin in undercover and she begins dropping news of a meeting at the Pipe among the gang.
Yindel and Gordon discuss his reliance on Batman. He mentions how scared everyone was after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and how Franklin Roosevelt inspired them to fight back. But years later, a rumor surfaced that perhaps Roosevelt knew about the bombing and let it happen in order to galvanize the US into war. Gordon could never make peace with that decision until he realized FDR was too big for him to understand, just like Batman. The mutants gather outside Gotham around an enormous sewer pipe. While in prison, the mutant leader's lights go out and his cell door opens. He escapes into the air ducts and exits into the sewer pipes.
Batman tackles him from behind and they go into the raw sewage. The sludge slows down the leader and puts him on equal footing with Batman. Slowly but surely, Batman takes the leader down, drawing blood, fracturing limbs, and finally beating him into the mud. With the leader's defeat, a large faction of the mutant gang rechristens itself the Sons of Batman, and dedicate themselves to law and order in Gotham.
On his last day, James Gordon packs up his things and turns in his gun and badge. As the news continues to cover Batman, the comatose patient from earlier starts to come back to life.
Gotham City belongs to the Batman.
Batman. Darling.
The Joker is back. The Sons of Batman have now killed several criminals and public opinion is as divided as ever. The Joker watches all of this. He mentions seeing his doctor on TV and then laments that everyone in Gotham must hate him. His doctor offers to get him on television.
In the White House, President Reagan is discussing Batman's return with a guest. He suggests that his guest remind Batman he should be in retirement. Superman considers it. In the middle of a liquor store robbery, the clerk refuses to hand over his money to the ex-mutants. So their leader, Bruno, steps in. Wow.
Nazi boobs. You're sure Obscurus Lupa didn't review this? This seems more like her deal.
Pretty sure.
I don't review Nazi-sploitation. Still, I can't help but feel like this movie is missing a machine gun-wielding werewolf.
A homely bag lady barges in, and before one of the thugs caps her, she busts a bottle of Jack over his head. Bruno tries to open fire, but the gun is jammed. She bolts, and the storekeeper covers the thugs. Batman orders Robin to lead Bruno down an alley. Carrie barely avoids the gunfire. A flash of red blows by a newsstand. As Bruno searches for Robin, Batman arrives and asks what the Joker is planning. A fight goes down between the two, with Bruno falling down a large hole. In the subway, a man slips and knocks a blind man onto the tracks. The approaching train is stopped by a red and blue blur, leaving only a pair of handprints behind. As Batman drops on Bruno, a rumbling alerts him to a familiar presence. Bulletproof skin, heat vision, and super strength make short work of Bruno. After making an appointment to meet Superman later, Batman finally unmasks.
As Soviet and American tensions heat up in Latin America, the press questions President Reagan about Batman. Does his return violate the agreement the US government made for superheroes to retire? Reagan denies this, and then we watch the responsibility for Batman buck passed down to new police commissioner Yindel. At the retirement dinner, Gordon praises Batman, but Yindel condemns him. On his estate, Clark and Bruce talk.
Clark wants Bruce to go back into retirement. Bruce refuses, and Clark hints that sooner or later, he'll be forced to take Bruce down.
Reagan announces the USA is going to war with the Soviets, and we see Superman on the beaches tossing aside the Soviet tanks. In Arkham, the Joker meets with one of his henchmen who supplies him with special lipstick and nose filters.
I could kiss you.
Why does the Joker's voice sound so familiar?
Nostalgia Critic?
I haven't heard it since The Island. Alright, Ben, I've
played your games. I've hunted down pigs, I got that kid from Vampire Diaries killed, and I've even sacrificed myself to learn the secrets of the island. And now you're gonna tell me.
Do you really want to know, John? Aren't you afraid that all these years of build-up might be leading you to an incredible disappointment that will leave you scarred for years and unable to trust a TV show ever again?
Actually, that's a good point. I was pretty pissed off after Battlestar Galactica ended. I think you're right. I'm better off not knowing. Bye.
John? The aliens from Stargate built the island. Hello?
What was the point of that?
I've been waiting 5 years to work in my Michael Emerson impression.
Oh. Must be very proud.
Yindel sets up security around the talk show, hoping to catch Batman. Inside, the Joker puts on his lipstick as his henchman sends in his robot children.
Batman and Robin fly in on a cloaked helicopter. Bruce jumps out and glides in. He starts taking down cops.
The Joker and his doctor make their talk show debut as the battle on the roof continues.
As Batman gets overwhelmed, Robin tries to order the Batcopter to do something, but she's been locked out by Bruce.
The Robo-Kids emit a green gas and break into the studios. The Joker says he's going to kill everyone in the studio. His doctor defends him, saying Batman is the reason Joker is crazy. Joker then smashes his mug and cuts the doctor's throat. The Robo-Kids burst in, blanketing the audience, and Joker's poisoned.
Robin has reprogrammed the Batcopter and rescues Batman, informing him the Joker has struck. As Superman dismantles the Soviets' Air Force and Navy, the Joker pays a visit to a much older and, frankly, fatter Selina Kyle. His lipstick hypnotizes Selina, and shortly thereafter one of Selina's girls uses the lipstick on a senator. Watching the news, Bruce sees said senator naked on a ledge. He falls to his death. An older detective offers to help. They find out the girl is one of Selina's escorts. However, a moment later, the real detective shows up. Batman and Robin find Selina tied up like Wonder Woman. Robin finds cotton candy, and they know the Joker is at the local fair. At the fair, the Joker sees the Bat Glider and sends up Bobby, who blows up the glider, but not Batman or Robin.
He sends Mary the Robot and his goon after Robin, then draws a gun and fires on Batman. Joker grabs a hostage and takes 3 batarangs for it.
Are you out of your mind?
I'm through playing Joker.
As Mary gets ready to blow up the roller coaster, Batman chases the Joker into a hall of mirrors, where he grabs another hostage. Breaking through a mirror, he tackles the Joker, who manages to shoot him and get away.
Robin slingshots a ball bearing into Mary, knocking her off the tracks and saving the lives of the riders. She's in turn tackled by Joker's thug, kicks him back, and gets caught in the coaster's chain. The gears crush his head, killing him.
The Joker heads into the Tunnel of Love, killing patrons as he goes. Batman catches up to him and they fight it out. The Joker knows this is their final fight. He stabs Batman several times, and Bruce breaks his neck. The Joker dares him to finish him off. When he won't, the Joker snaps his own neck, happy that he finally made Batman lose control. Batman spits on the Joker's face. Alright, I can just see how this goes. Commissioner, we found saliva on the Joker.
If only there was a way to identify whoever spit that saliva. We know who Batman was. A way to test for deoxyribonucleic acids, or DNA, if you will.
Sorry, Chief. This was written in the 80s, and although it's set in the future, DNA type matches just won't fly in this story. The Joker's body bursts into flames. As the cops arrive, Batman blows up their boats, diving under the blast, and escapes. Robin arrives, blasting police cars to create a diversion. She comes in low and lassos herself a Batman.
At his home, ex-Commissioner Gorin is sent out by his wife for groceries. Reagan announces that the Americans had driven the Soviets out of the tiny island of Corto Maltese, but in retaliation, they've launched a nuclear missile at the island.
Superman does his best to divert the missile, but it explodes in the atmosphere. The United States loses its power with an EM pulse which nearly kills Superman. Bruce comes to and realizes a nuclear detonation is behind the blackout. With no machines working, Batman and Robin ride into Gotham on horseback. The sons of Batman are getting ready to brutally police Gotham when Bruce arrives to temper their zealotry. They'll stop crime, but not using guns.
As looting and rioting trash the city, Team Batman restores order. Firing off a gun to grab attention, Gordon organizes the neighborhood into a volunteer fire department.
With the gangs recaptured, Batman calls for the citizens to work together to save Gotham. Seeing this, Commissioner Yindel realizes that Batman is now too big to take down.
Gordon arrives home to find his apartment also on fire, but thankfully, his wife is alright. As the country recovers from the nuclear strike, we learn only Gotham has not devolved into violence. Since this is due to Batman, the president is now politically embarrassed and decides to send in Superman once and for all.
At his home, a now one-armed Oliver Queen, the former Green Arrow, tells Bruce how he's been working in the shadows. Because Bruce is so open, they'll have to make an example of him. But when Superman comes, Ollie wants a piece of him. Clark sends Bruce a message.
Crime Alley.
Batman fits himself with a special armor that will enhance his strength. He then swallows a pill that will take effect in 1 hour.
Is that common?
Oh, sure. Some of the best superheroes are pill poppers. Hourman, Underdog, the Big Popper.
What do you mean, the Big Bopper?
Popper? I didn't even know her! Robin questions how long he expects to last against Superman. Even though Clark's still weak from a nuclear blast and lack of sunlight, Bruce expects he's going to die. Heading to his rendezvous, several automatic missiles knock Superman out of the sky. Back in the Batcave, Alfred activates a self-destruct. Robin fires off a shot or two from the Batmobile before Superman disables it. Bruce calls him out and hits him with sonic and electric weapons.
Back at Wayne Manor, Alfred is looking at old pictures of the Wayne family as the lights flicker due to Bruce's attack.
Bruce points out the only reason they've ordered his capture is he's succeeded where the government failed. Clark counters that this is their world and the normal people must make the call on how to rule it.
Carrie rides the Batmobile and heads out of the city, drawing away the army.
Batman and Superman fight across the city. Bruce's armor allowing him to go toe-to-toe with the Kryptonian. Superman demasks him, but he still doesn't stop.
Oliver knocks out a sniper and leads the rest of the snipers on a merry chase. He's shot in the leg and falls off the roof, catching himself on the fire escape. Oliver fires an arrow that douses Superman in kryptonite. Robin rescues Oliver and they take off.
Superman can now feel what it's like to be normal, but he's still powerful enough to see that Bruce's heart has an irregular beat.
In all the years to come, in your most private moments, I want you to remember the one man who beat you.
Bruce keels over, just as the self-destruct destroys Wayne Manor.
Watching outside, Alfred has a stroke and dies. We learn the public has no answers. Every trace of Wayne's life as Batman was destroyed and his wealth has vanished. At his funeral, Selina rails against Superman, blaming him for Bruce's death. As they all leave, Clark hears something. A heartbeat.
In the caves beneath Gotham, Oliver orders the Sons to start setting up when Robin arrives with Bruce. He's going to train the Sons of Batman as his army, and they will keep Gotham safe. Bruce knows Clark heard his heart beating, but it's okay. As long as he stays in the shadows, Superman won't have any reason to come after them again.
This'll be a good life. Good enough.
And that's the animated adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns.
Wow. So, did you think it was good?
Yeah, no, not really.
But it's a faithful adaptation of one of the greatest Batman stories of all time.
I know, but honestly, just because something works in a comic book doesn't mean it will work in a movie. Let's take a closer look. While the movie is completely animated, it comes down to style choices. Each DC animated film that's adapting a comic book story tries to copy the style of the artist who did the original work. The problem is that Frank Miller's style, even in this early period of his career, is all about static or still images. He draws a page in such a way that your eye movement is meant to provide the action, whereas in an animated film, the camera work provides the action. So the jarring motion of jumping between talking heads on a still page is now panning over to just another journalist on a talk show. It loses something in the translation. There's also the fact that this story was released on 2 DVDs the first time around. That makes for roughly about a 2.5-hour story, standard length for a film, but it's kind of annoying to have to change discs in the middle of the story. I'm not sure why they didn't release a single disc edition the first time around, but that might have something to do with selling 2 DVDs to the public instead of 1. However, since there is now a single disc edition out, my recommendation is if you have to buy a copy, that's the one to get. Story-wise, it almost perfectly adapts everything from the comic book, and I don't have a problem with that. With one exception, Superman. I never cared for him being the government's pawn. That always came off as Miller's personal disdain for the character, but maybe I'm reading too much into that. Still, Superman constantly comes off as remorseful for the actions he's been asked to take, and is trying to talk Bruce out of their inevitable confrontation. With that, you know Clark isn't going to kill Batman, even though you get the feeling that Batman might kill him. In the end, he's too damn nice, and I ended up sympathizing with him when he's meant to be the antagonist. The new character of Carrie Kelly is nice and works well in the story, although in the book I got the idea that she ran away from home and became Robin. Here it's implied she's just treating Robin as an after-school job, and I'm not sure that works, since after the fair she never once expressed concern for her friends and family. The voice cast did do a great job. I felt all the actors hit their characters. Points should go to Michael Emerson for bringing his trademark creepiness to the slightly more subdued Joker. Also, Ariel Winter does a fine job as Carrie, working in the book's future slang in such a way that it doesn't feel forced. The only one I didn't really like, and that's a shame, is Peter Weller. He has such a naturally booming, deep voice that it's almost a little too much for Batman. On top of that, he never alters his voice when he's Bruce Wayne. I mean, with that booming voice, they really can't tell that Batman is Bruce Wayne. Batman requires a noticeable difference in the voices.
Oh, what, you mean like Christian Bale's gravelly, "Where is he?" voice?
Where'd you get that?
I don't know. Just put my hand behind my back and I have things sometimes.
Okay. Say what you will about the Nolan films, the voice is admittedly ridiculous, but then it was meant to be. It served the purpose of people not being able to recognize Bruce Wayne's voice when Batman talked.
Okay, fair enough. My thoughts, it's okay. It's got some great animation, it's got some really cool scenes, but it's still kind of all over the place and goofy. But it's alright overall. Final thoughts?
This is a rental at best. I give The Dark Knight Returns animated movie 2 out of 5 stars.
Neat.
Nostalgia Critic, thanks for being my guest and co-reviewer on this one.
Oh, anything for you, Linkara.
I'm the Last Angry Geek.
I gotta go. I'm really late.
What just happened here?
Where the heck is that guy? Flashpoint isn't gonna review itself! Screw it, I'll do it with that sci-fi guy.
Yes! Everything's turning up sci-fi guy.